Oh boy, you knew right when that guy started speaking with a British accent that this could be Xenoblade 3. And it sure enough was Xenoblade 3. I am over the moon. The game just looks so cool. The premise just seems so cool. And while I could spend some time analyzing every still frame of the trailer to try to figure out how the futures of 1 and 2 meshed into this beautiful mess, I'm just going to leave that to people with more experience with the lore than me, who hasn't even played Xenosaga yet. But one thing I do know is my own opinion, and I can give my opinion takes on the design because Saito knocked it out of the park with the 6 main characters that we've seen thus far. I also just think this will be a nice sort of thing to look back on, to see how I would judge these characters based solely on their appearance, as shallow as that sounds. Because as much as I'd like to sort of go through and look at the designs and art of Xenoblade 1 and 2 characters, I'm sure that my biases towards their characters and personalities would intrude on that quite a bit. So just keep this in a time capsule for which designs I thought were pretty fucking sick, and which designs I thought were still good, just not as good. Don't expect any hot takes. I think most of these are lukewarm, if anything. But still, they're all really good, and I just want an excuse to talk about them. The first person here I'm not going to really call the worst, more like my 6th favorite, because I think all the designs are really good, and Noah just unfortunately has to be at the end of it. Nice, sleek look with his ponytail and red jacket. The red and black work very nicely together with those little blue accents on his eyes and his sword, which kind of looks like a replica Minato, and it'll be interesting to see how they explain his weapon and how it's gonna be the Xenoblade number 3 or whatever. Overall, pretty good design. I'm just not a huge fan of red, which he's got a lot of. Next up, I'd put Senna. Again, a very good design. Little girl, big hammer. You got blue ether lines, if that's what they are, a nice bright blue core crystal, if that's what it is, and glowing hair, which I think all looks very good in the 2D art. My only complaint is that the 3D model looks a bit worse. Maybe it's just the fact that it's nighttime in the trailer. I just feel that the glowing hair in the 3D model is a bit more than I would like it to be. The other thing is that she's probably going to fall down rankings quite a bit when the game is actually released, because if she plays anything like a shield hammer, she's not staying in the party very long. Alright lads, here we are. I've been in the lab trying to figure out how to make shield hammers great for Xenoblade 3. I think you gotta increase damage, faster animations, better auto-canceling, lower art refresh, all things just to make them do more damage, feel a bit faster, and actually they get aggro. You can also throw in like a taunt thing. I don't know, people have been throwing that one around, like Lynn's trash talk or something, just so they can actually be a tank. Make everything AoE. That doesn't seem like intuitive for a short range weapon, but I think if you just like, you know, it's a big short range weapon, they could do it. Fill the party gauge on auto attack, just put Ricky's happy on every auto. I think it'd be pretty good. Innate arts and movement heal, you know, just make them actually tanky, able to survive in a scruff. Topple on every auto attack, regardless of break. You know, it opens up a lot of potential for fusion combos and all that jazz. We just cannot risk having good designs wasted. Next up, I'm gonna put Lance, if that is how you say his name. Already his wide stance, overcoat, and giant sword gives off heavy Zeke vibes, which is already a massive W in this man's favor. His weapon also seems kinda cool, how it shifts from like a shield and a sword. It is very Rein-esque, and I think that is gonna be the initial comparison you have with this character right off the bat. One of the big reasons why I like Lance though is that it seems like he's a Machina. He's got the two-toned gray skin with lines on his face, even some weird symbol on his chin. I think that's pretty cool. A lot of people wanted Egil to be a playable character in Xenoblade 1, so that you would have all the races present in the game in the party. Overall, pretty sick. He maybe is a bit too similar to Rein, but I just think the fact that he's a Machina is pretty damn cool. Alright, halfway through this list, I'm gonna put Nia. Wait, it's not Nia? Tell me it's a different character? You gave it a different name? Alright, what the hell is it? Mio? They replaced 2 letters, called it a day? Alright, fine. Halfway through this list, I'm gonna put Mio. I generally thought I wouldn't like a design that consisted so much of one color. It is kind of in the lore of the game where one side wears a lot of black and one side wears a lot of white. And Mio being the main protagonist from Agnesis means that she's gonna have a lot of silver on her. But I think they still pull it off very well. It's a nice, Cute design with a bit of sharpness in its jacket, and the gold trim on the skirt and the ribbons on the boots. It comes together very nicely, even if there are some times in the trailer where there's a lot of light on her and it looks a bit weird. It's still very good. They started from Nia, you can't go too wrong from there, even if you just renamed her to Mio, and that leaves me with more questions than answered concerning everything. At number 2, I'm gonna put Uni. Overall, I think if you took away the wings and the gun staff, it would be fairly meh. It's a lot of black as expected of the Kiev side of the world, but with some nice lime green accents thrown in there that I think gives it some pop and polish. But then you throw in the wings and the gun staff, and it just looks really good. I think the main thing I really like about Uni is just that she is so different from all the other high-end Tia we've seen. She does not have silver hair, which points to crossbreeding, which I think is an interesting development in this world. She also has much shorter wings, which points to that as well. But the other thing is in the trailer, she's has a very aggressive mannerism, and she has replacement curse words twice. It's just fantastic. I really like it, because it's just so unusual to see anyone with wings on their head act in such a sort of Rhine-esque manner, I suppose. And I overall, it's just something so contrary to what we've seen, and I think it works out really well. And the gun staff is really sick. And lastly, my absolute favorite of these designs is Tion. Is that actually how you say his name? It's a weird name. Tion started off on the wrong foot. He's got glasses, got this whole tactician vibe, made me think a bit of Akos, which is not a compliment in any regard. But then he starts throwing paper cranes around him. Oh man, that just looks so cool. He's got a slick orange scarf. He's got a slick white and orange jacket. It all works together so well. And then the paper cranes are just so cool. I cannot overstate how cool I find it that he's just throwing out hordes of paper cranes like drones. As for how he has the magic to control these paper cranes, we know that everyone from Agnesis is kind of ether-based combat, but he doesn't have prominent ether lines like Senna or a core crystal like Mio. It opens up a lot of interesting possibilities. Could he be a flesh eater? Could he be a blade eater? Could he be some new sick twisted experiment? Who knows? The paper cranes are cool, the hair is cool, being a nerd is cool, and everything about this guy is just so fantastic. So I am now realizing that after last semester, I did not throw out any of my papers. So, just a large stack of them here. Screw it.
They're his view.